And now his ship has come and it's time for him to leave his material body. So people are following him and asking him different questions, that before you leave, give us some more advice so we can follow. And there is an advice for everyone, for parents, for children, for lawyers, for doctors, and all these things, right? So there is one of the poem is for how to be a donor. How want to donate to the society. So that every single act that you do in life should be out of existence. Let the existence be a doer. You will act in the society. Believe me, existence will not let you sweat. Existence never believe in laziness. We know, you look at a tiny segment of a jungle floor. Every single entity there is functioning.
They are doing something.
From a small ant to a moth, to a butterfly, to a leaf, everything is active. Have faith in existence and you just synchronize with that dance of life. You will be a doer, even without you knowing it, right? So he says that you want to donate out of your existence.
Out of your nature.
It should be your nature to give,
Right.
not a doer donor.
Not a doership, but just...
So whatever you do not brag about it. Do not let anybody know about it. And he gave a beautiful example, as if a myrtle, which is a tree that is blooming on the distant corners of a jungle on the mountain slopes. And the fragrance is just flowing. There is nobody to appreciate that, but myrtle is blooming anyway. Because it's doing it out of its own nature. So, in nature, man is the only one with his twisted mind ask for the purpose. Why?
Right.
Why is this thing happening?
Right.
He's not ready or able to appreciate.
Accept things as they are.
Not just accept, even appreciate.
Right.
That so much beauty is flowing around.
Right.
Out of no reason. There is no reason for it. But his commercial mind, he wants to taint the consciousness. Why is consciousness doing it? Consciousness is not doing it. It is happening.
It is.
That is and that is. There is a difference. Why is the dancer dancing? Dance is the ultimate product of the dance which is within. Right? Now, this is a great philosophy. Now, you see the difference between a sculpture and a sculptor. Sculptor creates a sculpture.
Right.
Now you can see the difference between a sculptor and a sculpture. Sculptor may be gone. A sculpture will stay for years. Now, the argument is the God a sculpture? A sculptor. He created this world. Are we the final product and the God not existing behind it? So then God must be a separate entity and the creation is a separate entity. Is that the case? In that case, then we have to leave this world to go and find the God.
Right.
And that dualistic concept about the world. And dualistic concept is the false concept that gives you the fuel behind your engine of doership. Because that means you are here,
And you
God
want to
is
go
not
somewhere
here,
else. You want to go somewhere
you
else.
want to go somewhere else.
Right.
And that dualistic concept is the most illogical concept. And that's where it creates so many wrong notions about the spirituality. Compare that with a dance. Can you take the dance and the dancer away from each other? No.
Can't. There is no dance
There is
without a dancer.
there is no dance without a dancer. So the dance of life has been compared with the dance of Paramatma. Paramatma never left you. Paramatma is always there. It's here and right now. The only thing is you need a different vision to look at the whole thing. Where so far the only vision we have is the vision of senses. And that's the only way we can look at this world. But we don't see the dynamics, we don't see the dance that is happening. We cannot see the dancer behind the dance. And that's our focus is kind of shifted. Because we look at through the prism. Prism has separated 7 colors. That's why we cannot see the divine light behind. We always differentiate red and green and this and that. The dualistic approach is a creation of the senses, of the mind. Mind creates the past. Mind creates the future. Mind creates the difference between the past entity and the present entity and the future events, possible this and that. It's the dualistic theory is the creation of the mind. The only time we can go beyond that, then we can see Advait everywhere. Now, you play a flute. Now, you will say that whatever you heard, the tune that comes out, right? You can say the same tune can be played by somebody else. So the tune, you can have a copyright. Bach played the music, or Beethoven played beautiful music. Now anyone else can play. But can you separate Beethoven and his tune played by him? So our dualistic mind will create miseries. But the concentration that a flute player plays and whatever piece of music comes out with his own heart, and if you consider that as a single entity, the flute is only an extension of him.
Correct.
The tune that comes out was already there in his mind, in his soul. The music was already in his heart.
Yeah, it just...
The body and the flute are just the extension for him to express. Now the same tune will never come out from somebody else's a flute. The same lecture I give, the passion that I may have, it will never be the same if somebody repeats the same lecture.
Right.
It may be better, it may be worse,
Right.
but it won't be the same.
Same. Exactly.
The creativity,
Yeah.
I may be off few points,
Yeah.
it may be better, it doesn't matter. The consciousness expresses in zillions and zillions and zillions of different ways. One way will never be the same.
Again.
So in that case, flute becomes immaterial. The flute player is everything. You look at the universe. Say you cannot see certain stars. You use the telescope. Your eye is an extension of your desire to see the world. With the eye, you see the world. The eye is an extension of your desire to see the world. So, telescope becomes just an extension. So it becomes a process for you see the stars. So, path, the medium, becomes the final message. From whatever I speak, whatever message comes out, the medium and the message is the same. Because the message that flows at the end of that medium will be influenced heavily by the medium.
Correct.
And so medium and the message
Same.
are the same. So that, once that concept is achieved, then you start putting on the matter side. So my eye, the telescope, and even the stars, the vision that I have of the stars is the extension of my vision and my connection. Now, don't forget, vision is not the eye. It's the capacity to analyze that vision
Is
stays within,
right.
further beyond the eye. Eye is nothing, right? So my ability to appreciate what I saw
To perceive.
needs the consciousness, the awareness. So my awareness is flowing at its very, very, very deep source, flowing through the eye, flowing through the telescope, reaching to the stars, which are billions and billions of miles away, right? And then ultimate the connection is set. So now the stars become the extension of my consciousness, right? And who knows, there is a consciousness hidden within the stars. As we know, there are big, molecules and DNAs and everything are burning up with a humongous amount of energy that is flowing there. Ultimately, that energy is connected with my energy. That consciousness of that star aligns with my consciousness deep within with my energy, and ultimately the same consciousness which was in the form of my eye, my name, telescope made by someone, zillions of miles between me and that star, ultimately aligns with each other. When you see that concept, the Advait starts developing in your mind. Until then, the duality will keep on going. Oh, I saw this and I saw that and all that. So Advait theory is ultimately unites everything. Until then, you play around in a dualistic approach, and that's where all the cause of sufferings and duality wants to achieve, wants to have a greed and wants to accumulate and this and that. But once you start having Advait concept in the whole life, then the whole thing becomes a dance. There is nothing there left for you to achieve. You do it out of your consciousness. It flows. And that's how Krishna's flute was playing. Krishna's Gita came out of his existence. It did not have to be made with a certain reason. And Gita is still flowing. Whatever is happening to the world, it doesn't matter. What will happen in the future doesn't matter. It just flows. So once you realize, you should also remove the concept of attainment of nirvana or moksh or enlightenment. It's not a question of a goal that needs to be attained. On the contrary, you have to realize that there is nothing to attain. Whatever is the non-attainability is what you have to achieve. Non-futility of that concept of achievement is nirvana by itself. Nirvana happens. Nirvana is not something that you can try to achieve. So you have to realize. And you have to realize that there is nothing to achieve. And that's why we had that ghazal. ऐ मेरे हम नसी चल कहीं और चल इस चमन में अब हमारा गुजारा नहीं बात होती गुलों तक तो समझ लेते हम अब तो कांटों पे भी हक हमारा नहीं whatever you think you have whether good bad ugly or anything in between you cannot take it with you. So what's the point? Just enjoy, participate in LSY. So whether it's a good dream or a bad dream, it still is a dream. Whether you get beaten up in a dream and you wake up and you actually have cuts on your arms or legs, I could understand. There is some reality to the dream. But not even that. And you wake up and you say, forget about it. It was just a dream. I want to come out of it. And on another extreme, you made millions in Atlantic City. Not a single balance change in your bank account. Nothing happens. It's totally futile. And that's the thing. The greed is not necessarily good. You may consider it good because it achieves material results. Greed of Alexander was good. Greed of CEO of a Fortune 500 company may be good. And you may think it is good if it brings you good results. But then greed may be bad for somebody. Grapes may be sour for somebody because it could not achieve certain results. So you may hate greed. So Shastras, my scriptures may say that, okay, greed is bad for you, so don't have greed. But they never say why greed is bad. It's not good, it's not bad, it's impotent. It cannot do anything of any significance when it comes to the spiritual world. In the world of spirituality, there is nothing, no effect on it. So when you realize that fact, the greed just disappears. And that our desire to do something, to achieve something. So it all depends who you ask. If you ask Alexander, for him, fine. Greed is good. It has brought me more and more millions and more rajyas and more states under my control. So it's good. But it's finite. Egos are finite too, believe it or not. Egos being operated are fighting against each other in the real world. There is finite. There is a one pie. There is X amount of trillions of dollars made. If you want to achieve more, you got 2 million more than I did, then I have to have $2 million less.
Right.
It's simple as that.
Right.
Egos are also divided.
Somebody has to lose for you to win.
For you to win, exactly. There was a story Rajneesh gave. Say once a guy was walking around in a jungle. All of a sudden he hears the coins of rupees somebody was counting. He says, who could be doing that? He picks. So there is one sadhu sitting there. He's counting rupees. At that time there was coins, right?
Yeah.
So he's counting and he's behind the bushes and all that. So he looks at it and then his thing started wavering. So he goes to the sadhu. He says, Sadhuji, pranam. Can I have your come and bless our little hut? Can you come to our house and we will offer you whatever we have. I am a very poor guy. Can you just bless us, our dwelling? Can you come to our house? So sadhu says, I don't really go anywhere. We are sadhus. We don't have any way to go. We just go from places to places, whatever comes along. No, sadhuji, we really want you to bless our little dwelling. This will come to our house, and not only that, I'll give you 1 rupee if you for your make an effort. So sadhu say, okay, let's come. No big deal. So then he comes and then he has a dinner and this and that, and he says then he tells his wife, why don't you go get that rupee coin that we have, But wife goes inside and cannot find it. He says, oh, what happened? And rupee in those days was such a big amount.
Right.
He says, no, I cannot find it. What happened? What happened? So the wife starts shouting, oh, what happened to the coin? Now we are totally ruined. It was such a big possession we had. What are we going to do? How are we going to eat the next time and this and that? So all the people from the neighborhood starts gathering. He says, what happened? What happened? He says, I don't know. We had that rupee coin and we just can't find it. We want to give this sadhuji and we feel so embarrassed and I don't know. Nobody else has come. And then everybody says, how about sadhu? So he said, yeah, he has been, but he's sadhu. Well, what do you have to do with that? No. So some people says, why don't we search sadhuji? What? He says, you can search him. He said, but no, he's sadhu. Why would he have anything to hide? So one guy says, you can search him, but don't search his turban. That's where he had hidden. So everybody can do anything, but don't touch the turban. Sadhu ki laaj ka sawal, it's his reputation. Oh yes, sir. Then 100 rupees started flowing. So they said, how many rupees did you have? He says, I had 100 rupees. The guy says, So there you go. So they beat up the sadhu and kicked him out. So some sadhu had told this story to Rajneesh, right? So Rajneesh says, wait a minute. What are you trying to say? So he says, all that says that greed is bad, right? So that's the lesson you have to learn, and we should not have a greed for money. He says, wait a minute. This is not just a story of greed. It's a greed of one person against greed of another.
Right.
When that poor man saw 100 rupees, he wanted to steal from the sadhu. And maybe sadhu had actually honestly done so many places, Updesh and all these things, might have gotten a blessing. Some people must have donated to him, and maybe that was his great possession. But greed of poor man, so-called poor man, won against the greed of sadhu. The sadhu might have been greedy. He could have said that, okay, I gave you the blessing, I don't need any money. But greed was accumulated over the period of time. So who knows? So that's what it is. In the material world, there is always a greed against a greed. So whoever greeds win, they may be better off. And people whose greed loses, they may seem to be worse off. But when we start analyzing the day-to-day lives, we analyze only in the material way. Somebody looks that he plays in Atlantic City, wins. Oh, that's so good. I'm happy. not knowing what inside is going on, he or she is feeling jealous. Oh, I wish I was there. I had moved that slot machine. I had gotten $1 million. There is no. So it's all transactions. Material life is, that's all there is. There is nothing beyond that. So only time you realize that this is all exercise in futility. Even if you have money, what do you do with it? That's more important.
Right.
That's what we were talking about. Jesus saw one person going after, the prostitutes in the house. He said, all of a sudden, he said, this guy had no eyes. I gave him the eyes.
And
now what is he doing with his eyes? So material possessions, people line up behind these munis and all these things to get something. But
Right.
why do you want to get something if it's not going to take you anywhere from spiritual point of view? So your spiritual awakening has never started. People line up to get this mantra and that mantra, and we talk about $108 for this, $2,000 for this puja, this and that.
Right.
But for what?
Right.
To get a job for my son and
Yeah.
To
made
get
a cure
something
for-
that you already have.
Right.
To get something that you already have.
Yeah, they don't realize what they have. That's the thing. So they want to have a job for the son or make him pass in his exam. To a wife has an incurable illness, this and that. It's all about matter. So your vision is still material, and you're never coming out of it.